All right. Good evening, everyone. We are live, I think. So we're going to give it a few minutes and allow some folks to get on. There they start coming. Okay. So as you come on, be sure and say hello. Tell me where you're from. Okay. Hey, John, how are you? How's Florida? Good? I'm glad you made it. All right, so we're going to let a few people get on. And tonight we're going to be talking about carving. And although I've carved before, this is something, a new way of doing it for me. And I'll explain all that. Hey, Amber, I'm glad you got on. It was nice to meet you the other day. Clearwater. Yes, I know where you're at. You're over there. Hey, honey. Hey, Sally. Okay. So tonight we're going to do carving, and I am working on just low time 0406 ceramic cast pieces. I'm just going to have, I've got a couple of tiles, and then I've got a trivet that was slip cast, and we're going to work on that. Doing great. Nice evening. We actually had a cool day here today. What was it, Jenny? 65 or something? Unusual, very unusual. It was great. I mean, for those of us that like cooler weather. Hey, Deborah from Mobile, Elizabeth. Hey, Deb. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of myself on the screen and turn it down. So you can see the two pieces there. I did this ginger jar. It's like a box, a hinge box, and I forgot to get my hinge to show you, but I'm going to demonstrate some on there. Hey, Dawn, thanks for joining. Awesome. Okay, so I am going to hide that, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to hide myself. Awesome. Okay, so what I've got is just Greenware tile. Okay, these are just cast tiles. So let me show you the finished one. Okay, so this is just a 8x8 tile, and I'm going to show you how I made a watercolor background and then the steps that I did to do this. This one is a ginger jar, and this is one of the old booth molds that has like a gold hinge that you put the lid and the bottom in it, and then it makes like a box. Okay. So the difference in these two, and I think you can see it. Do you see the difference in the lines? The ginger jar has really fine lines. This tile is a thick line. So I'm going to show you the two different tools that I use to do it with. And then depending on what you're doing, you can make the choice of how you want your lines to look. Okay. All right. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Nancy. Good evening, everyone. So first thing is doing a watercolor background. So this one I haven't done on, but I'm going to show you how to do that. You could use a medium or a large Sumi brush. You can also use what I did mine on that 8x8 is this Zem Mongoose Synthetic Wash. This is their 8700 series, and let me put you a link up for that. So if you're on YouTube, you can see they are pricey. They are a natural hair, but it is very nice. So check out their brushes. Um, and I'm going to be doing some demos using some of their brushes, so I wanted to use one tonight. Okay. And then I think Jenny will put that link. Did I send you that link, Jenny? I may. Okay, I did. All right. Okay, we have a question. Did I get some? Nancy, I'm not sure what that is. Ted Drews. Did I get some? I don't know what that is. You'll have to tell me what that is. Either message me. I'm not familiar with that, or I'm just having a senior moment, so to speak. Okay. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Barbara. Marie. Everybody's jumping on. Bridget. And hey, Bestie. How are you? Okay. So this is a synthetic wash. So it's a mongoose hair, but it's also synthetic. It's more like a sable, Kalinsky sable. So it's a natural hair. All right. So what I've done is, let me show you. And let me change the way, whoops, let's go the other way. So, oh, frozen yogurt in St. Louis. No, I did not. Sorry. I remember that conversation now. I was working the whole time I was in St. Louis, so I didn't have much time to do anything. Okay, so what I've done in my palette is I'm working with 151, 152, and 150, which are all the ceruleans. Okay, so always shake your color concentrates. They come in 1 and 2 ounce bottles and in pints, and then dispense some in your palette. So I'm going to put some of those colors out. And the darker the color, they tend to be thicker. So be sure and definitely um, shake them well. Okay. And then always dampen your brush or wet your brush, blot it on a paper towel. Okay. To get all the moisture out. We are going to make a wash, so it's not going to make that much of a difference here. Grab a. Okay. I think I left mic on. So, well, no, I didn't. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Thanks for the check on the mom. You were hearing to me kind of echoing. Okay, so make a wash. So when you make a wash, you always start with the color, add it to the water. Don't add water to the color, okay? Because you'll end up with a lake, like the whole center of your palette here, before you get a wash. And then your color is heavier than water, so keep that stirred up, okay, as you're working. So load some of that color up, and all I did was just kind of hit and miss, put some color down. We've got 3 different colors, so you want to randomly apply that. With the big brush, it's quicker, is the biggest difference. You can do it. Let's switch to the Sumi brush. I'm going to grab some of that wash. And with the Sumi, I tend to kind of mush it around when I apply it as opposed to a slip slap motion. But either one are great. They both hold a lot of water, a lot of product, and it allows you to move around. Okay, you don't have to rinse the brush, go into your cerulean, go over here, make a wash. It's a little bit harder to get that brush. This happens to be the 1 inch size. They do have 3/4 and a 1/2 inch also available. And again, see how much quicker. It just depends on how large your piece is and the look, because you're going to get these slip slap brush strokes. Okay. If you don't like that look and you like more of the softer watercolor, then you may want the Sumi brush. But know that you can do it with either brush, or if you have a large sable brush. I don't think I would use a Taklon brush because it's going to show more of your brush strokes. Okay. So I'm working, if you're just joining us, I am working on 0406 clay body. This is a slip cast tile greenware. Makes you wonder why they call it greenware when it's gray in color. They should have called it grayware. So I'm mixing up some of the deep cerulean, and it's going to be really dark. So you've got to be very careful not to get too strong with it unless that's what you want. Okay. Hopefully that fixed the echoing, Marlene. I think it did. I turned on that second camera and I forgot to mute it. So that's why. Okay. So it just depends on how much you want on there. I'm going to rinse my brush, and then I'm just going to come back with just water, and I'm going to soften those edges. See how quick that is with this larger brush. And like I said, it just depends on what you're going to do with this in the end, if you want those strokes to show or not. I could come in here with my Sumi brush and just water, and just soften those edges. Just very quickly. When it's wet, it's open and allows you, and I'm just rinsing, getting rid of whatever color's on my brush and just kind of mushing around to soften those edges. All right. Hey, Talisa, how are you this evening? Okay. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Be sure and tell us where you're from so that you're in a drawing. Anybody that chats, puts a comment, you will be entered into a drawing at the end. Last week, or the last time I was on, Lisa, I think it was Fairbanks. Is that right, Jenny? She did not get a hold of me with what technique she wanted. So I don't, if she comes on, we might remind her of that. Okay, so here's your Greenware. See, it was gray before, and now you've got all these different colors. Another way to tell what you've got on there, just a little trick of mine, and this would work on no matter if you're on low fire or if you're mid-range, just take water in a mister, not the pump ones, not the stream, the heavy stream, but just a mister, and you can mist the whole piece, and that will kind of show you what your color decoration is, how heavy your colors are on there. And you can see it's just kind of a mush mush all over the place. If you see hairs from the brushes, roll them out, get rid of them. They fire off, but if you put color over them, they can actually fire in, and then when they fire off, you would have a line wherever that hair is. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so now, okay, we have a question. Okay, so Amber says, can you delete the underglazes? So Amber, I believe you're referring to the color strokes, and that is our opaque underglaze. And yes, you can delete those. Absolutely. They are diluted already because they have a little bit of glaze in them. Now remember, I'm on Greenware, okay, and the color strokes, our color strokes, which are these guys here, okay, they have a touch of glaze in them. Do not put that on the bottom of your piece because it could stick to your shelf, okay, where these are pure color in a gel. Okay, so if you're using the color strokes, be sure you don't put them on the bottom or where two pieces touch. Okay, so if this was Greenware, you wouldn't want to put it where two pieces touch because they could fuse together if the product is applied too heavy. Hi, Marie from Phoenix. Okay, so this piece I did earlier, and it's got the color on it. So now what I want to show you is how we protect this. And hold on one second. I'm going to pop something up on screen. So this is Mr. Marks. I'm going to hide this guy. This is Mr. Marks Wax On. And the only reason I know about this is Jessica Putman Phillips of Clayshare showed it during Clayshare Con. I had never heard of it. I was excited. So this is a resist. I believe it used to be in pink, so it could be pink or purple, but as long as it says resist and it's wax on. So there's a link up there if you're on YouTube, and Jenny has put a link. This is not something I carry. It's just something I used on this piece, and I wanted you to know about it. They also have a wax off, which is also a resist, but this one needs to be removed before you fire. This one will fire off. Okay, so the wax on will fire off. That's kind of confusing, isn't it? All right. Hey, Jean Kidwell, how are you? Okay, so what you do is put out some of the wax on into a little cup, and I did this one earlier, and I added a little bit of water. And I encourage you, if you haven't heard of Clayshare, the Facebook group Clayshare, be sure and check them out. I don't know if Jenny, you might be able to go search and pull a link for that. If you do any clay work at all, whether you're working on ceramic or you're working on stoneware, porcelain, she has great videos. Her YouTube channel is her name, Jessica Putman Phillips. And check her out. She is who I did the Clayshare Con with, and that's where I learned about this product. So check her out, her great videos. She also has a membership that is well worth the money. Tons of techniques, she's just a wealth of information. This is just one of your 1-inch craft foam brushes. You can get, a dozen of them for nothing at the store. So I've diluted the wax on, okay? And what I'm going to do now is just cover that color. And what this is going to do is protect it so that I can carve, and I can show you how I got the dark lines. She calls it Mishima, which comes from a technique from overseas. And this is her modern technique. So I'm adapting some of that, but at the same time, I'm doing the Paula thing, putting the color underneath. And then when that color's dry, which I did this about an hour ago, I'm applying, and I'm just putting another thin coat. So it has a purple tint to it because it's purple. All right. Water soluble, just rinse with water when you're done, as far as that goes. Any questions? This is an awesome one. Yeah, it's great. I can't wait to try the other one and put this on and then do some water carving and then peel it back. I used to do that years ago, so I'm anxious to try it. It's hard to find a good wax, so I'm thankful that we found that one. Thanks to Jessica. I have to give her credit, but check her out. There you go. Jenny posted her website. You can find her on YouTube, and she just does some amazing things. Okay. So here's the one that I did. Okay. Let me move this one out of the way. 1 second. Got to find another spot. Okay. So I did on the blog, I put up the pattern for you. So it's in a PDF form. And then the video will be right there below it, just like I do on most of them. So if you had a pattern, then what you want to do is you want to trace that pattern onto tissue. And I know what I did. I was so prepared. All right. So trace it. In other words, put that pattern underneath your tissue paper. Cheap tissue paper is better. Trace it with a pencil, and then you're ready to transfer to your wear. So this one has been waxed, and I think you can see, I don't want to move my pattern, but can you kind of see the pattern there? I think you can. You can see that it's there. You can see it for sure. Okay. Okay, so yes, Jean, I have 3 colors. So I've got 150, 151, and 152. You wouldn't have to, I mean, you could just do one color if you wanted and put those on, let it dry, and then I put 2 thin coats. And the only reason I did 2 is just to make sure I got all of it covered, because on this particular piece, there was an area that it was very thin in here, and I got some very fine lines. You probably can't even see it on camera of the red that's there. There you go. You can see it right there. Can you see those striations, those lines there? So I didn't have it thick enough or heavy enough there. It was a thinner area, so it absorbed some of when I did the line work, it went into that area. So just do that as a second time. I haven't tried it either. Every time I get some kind of latex, it dries out no matter what I do. Yeah, that was our problem. We had a latex also. I'm not going to carry it anymore because same thing. If you don't sell enough of it, don't use it. It does tend, I would say, cool, dry place. Put it in a Ziploc bag also. That's going to help protect it. And, you might even, if you're in Arizona, like Jean, you might put it inside your refrigerator even, just to keep it cool. Okay. So all you're going to say that again, Jenny? Oh, take the wax down, she said. Sorry. Got it. So then you're just going to trace over your pencil lines with the Sharpie marker, and that comes through. onto your wear. Be very, very careful. I did this one a little bit ago, and just tracing, it started to go down through the wax. So, because I was trying to hurry and get it on there before I went on live. But I wanted to leave some of it so that you could see how easy it was to do. So there's a partial pattern. It's just, you can add more to it, okay, that's out there on the blog. Feel free to do whatever you want with that, whether it's carve or just paint it. Either one. And it has all the detail lines, okay, on the flowers here. But I'm not tracing all those on. Now, if you're a person that you need that, you can, but I'm going to show you how easy. And you'll never get a whole bunch of fine lines there without, they're going to be all bunched up. So you won't need as many possibly as what I've got on there, is what I'm saying. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly go over this very lightly, hardly any pressure, and it will transfer just the outline, which is all I need to my piece. And then I can adapt and add more if I want to. So you could transfer any pattern, just put it on the tissue, trace it onto the tissue with a pencil, just a regular lead pencil, and then use your ultrafine Sharpie marker to transfer to the wear. And that's what I was hoping I could do. I wasn't sure until I did it the other day. So I was very pleased that it worked. Okay, so now you can see those lines. See all that? But you can see the wax because it looks shiny in the lights. Okay. Then make sure, I'm going to move my color out of the way. I'm also going to move the bisque that's underneath it. So this line and this line, two different tools. On this one, I use that wire loop, okay, the WS tool from Kemper, really, really tiny wire. On this one, I used the L3 diamond core tool. So this has diamond bits on both ends. One's a small and one's a large. And I think I have a link for those, and Jenny. So here is the diamond core one. They are pricey. They are pricey. But if you think about it, it's got a diamond bit. It's going to, that's how I got all those fine lines. It's your tools are investments. That's just all there is to it. So it depends on the look you want to get. You want really tiny fine lines, or do you, and I use the small end on this one. Okay. I did not use the large end, so I may use the large end tonight so you can see the difference. I want you to also, because I do things so you can learn, I want you to look at the tile closely, and you can, yes, they say I'm blurry. Okay, I've got 5 bars. Am I moving too fast? Okay, I'll slow down. Is it any better? John, can you tell me? How dry is the greenware? Okay, how dry is the green? My greenware is bone dry. I know that Jessica uses more of a leather hard, so follow her techniques if you're using the same clay body. Okay. Okay, so Jenny says we're still possibly. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Whoop, maybe too much. Can't really see the tile or the vase. Is that any better? Not moving too fast, but it is very blurry. I can. I'll set them down here and see if it'll focus on them. Maybe if I put my hand there. Image is pixelated. I show I have 5 bars of internet, guys, so I'm not sure It's not the pace you're moving. It is the connect. I'm direct hardwired into my router. So I've got as best as I can get. Okay. So the tile is better. This is just very fine lines on here. So maybe if I just hold it there, you can see. Okay. And it could even be on your end also, guys. It may not be on my end. Okay. It's better. All right. I just cleared up. Okay, good. So you can see that on the vase, the lines are very fine. Okay. And then on the tile, they're heavy and wider. Okay. So this one was done with the wire loop. I feel strange talking very slow. And this piece was done with the diamond cord tool. When I moved closer, it got blurry. Okay. I just won't move any closer. I'll just leave it there. Okay. So the tile has some chipping on it. It does prevent a lot of chipping that we have problems with on greenware. If it's too dry, you can have chipping. So that it definitely solved. So what you've done is you've been able to protect the background. Okay. And I see an area here on this tile that my paper towel pulled it off. So I'm going to have to be very careful. So that's an area that's not protected. Can you see that there? And actually, okay, I'm going to touch that with some wax. She said that I got fuzzy again. It looks great to me, Eddie says from Wyoming. Okay, I won't zoom in. I'll just do my thing. Okay, so with the diamond core tool, I'm going to use the large football end. Okay, and this is the fine and the thicker. And I'm going to come around here and start. So all you're going to do is carve. So you touch on that line and pull it out. You do need a brush to kind of dust away your crumbs. But basically what it does is carve through. Jenny, do you think if I zoom in, it'll be okay without looking? Okay, I'm going to zoom in. You guys tell me if it doesn't work. Okay. So it is very fine. It's a fine line. And what I'm doing is carving away the wax so that I hate to try to lift it up, and I'm afraid it'll get, let me go in just a little bit. Whoops. Sorry, guys. My fingers are not moving right tonight. Okay, so I think you can see that that one's carved. So let me, you know what, on the back of this one, okay, so you can see that line. Okay, all right, she says we're good. So I'm going to just go over it, very little pressure, and then dust away. So let's do a couple more to make sure that you can see it. Dust away. So it's a way to protect your color that's underneath. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to put color inside the lines. So can you see that? And I think you can see it kind of a little bit on this one over here. So I just carved out just like I did here. You're just carving through. Dust it away. So Jean's question is, I'm carving through the color, through the wax, through the color down to the greenware. So if you left these lines without any color in it, they would be white if your clay body is white. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so this is regular 04 Greenware. I'm going to switch to the small end, and I'm going to do those fine lines that I did not trace on, but I'm just adding those in for those lines that are radiating out from the center. Okay, so that would be these lines here. Okay, I'm trying to go slow. Turn your piece, and then you want to pull in your side veins also. If you traced them, they're there. If you didn't, you can just freehand. Now, the other thing is, depending on how many times you go over the lines, the carving will be deeper. On this original one, I went over these lines like 3 times. So I took the tool and went around it and around it and around it 3 times. And I actually videotape myself, and I will put these into a video with everything together so that you can see it. So if you go over the lines, they're going to be deeper. It just depends on. So the question is this called sgraffito? It is a sgraffito technique, but what we're going to do by putting the color on top of it in a minute, then it becomes this other technique. So yes, it is. And you could sgraffito with, here is another tool. This is just another loop. It's like the wire, the WS tool. You could use a sgraffito tool, and I thought I had one out here, but I don't see it right now. So yes, it is a sgraffito, but we're going to do more than just sgraffito. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go around. So if I wanted that line deeper, I would just go right over the same area. That was the second time. And I do short. I don't go all the way around it because I want to be able to see my line and do it in small bits and pieces, constantly turning. So then maybe I come over here. And even if I didn't follow my line that I transferred, I can kind of just wing it. Okay, so I think you can see that one. Trying to go slow. I'm going to switch to the smaller end, and I'm going to pull in those fine lines from the center. And this is going to make sense. Once I'm going to do one flower, and then I will show you the next, what we do to it next, and then that way you'll understand why it's not just sgraffito. So if you're going to do 3 times in that area, just do a small line, or maybe it's 2. You just need it deep enough. It really is a personal preference, okay, how deep that is. Any other questions, Jenny? Jean says, can this technique be done on bisque? No, because you're not able to carve. I mean, because it is a diamond bit on the end, maybe, but I personally wouldn't do it. I think this tool is way too expensive. I don't think I've ever spent this much money on a tool, but during ClayShareCon, there was a coupon to get a percentage off. I think it was 10%, and that's the only reason I got one to try. I wanted to see what the difference is, and I found out what the difference is. Okay, finer lines. That's a huge difference. So it really depends on your work and what type of line work you want to do. Okay, hopefully that is the picture available for the download. You know what? You can, I will put it in I'll redo the PDF with the pattern, Bobby, and put it on there as a second page for you. Okay? I didn't think about that. Shame on me. Okay, so if you go over the line, make sure I'm on camera here, sorry. I forget to look up. I get to go in and see how that carves through that wax, carves through the color, and it becomes a white line that we're going to pull and put some color in just a minute. Any other questions? So you could do this with any underglaze, opaque, translucent, doesn't matter. Whatever you would normally put on your clay, okay? Because like this one is stoneware, and it doesn't have any wax on it. You can sgraffito out, but because of what we're going to do as far as the color, then it becomes a different technique. Okay, so 1 time across, 2 times. I'm going to leave it at 2 just for time. And then I'm going to do the other one. But it seems to, it doesn't chip as bad with the diamond points as it does with that wire loop. Okay, the diamond point is cutting through that mask, the wax. So that's the huge difference. But you can use either one. You saw my sample is done with the wire loop, and the other one is done with this. Okay. YouTube is clear. Okay, Eddie. Thank you. I may have to just go to one platform and just do YouTube and share it to Facebook. And I may go back to one of my other ways of doing it next time. We may try to see if there's any difference by going back to doing the actual Facebook Live through Facebook's program. Facebook keeps changing things, unfortunately, and it's not just me. They're messing with a whole bunch of different people. It's just their whole platform. I think they're going to make people mad enough that they're going to just switch. Okay, so I just went around that center. Okay, so you would carve everything that you want, and I'm not going to go into all that other over there, okay? And then what you're going to do is come back to your color, depending on which color. I'm going to take the darkest color. Oh, the other thing I did was I did shade around the edge on here, and I'll show you that on the other tile in just a minute. But I want to show you this and allow it to kind of set up for just a second. I'm going to wet my Sumi brush, and then I'm going to go into the dark color, and I'm actually just going to thin that down just a little bit. This was the pure color with just a brush load of water. Now watch what happens. And I need to make sure that I've got all the dust out of here. Okay. I'm just going to put that color over those lines. Now I got to remember I've got an area over here that's wet. And that's why this is what Jessica calls Mishima. So you're, it's kind of a reverse instead of, well, you're still outlining the area, but it allows you to put your color underneath and then protect your background and add the color in the lines, whether it be black, blue, what, it doesn't matter. And then we'll let that sit there for just a minute, and then I'm going to wipe away the excess. Okay. Yes, we have a question. Okay, let me back off. Can I demonstrate how I hold the Kemper wire tool? Sure, absolutely. So I keep the wire, is that focused? I'm going to wait for just a second to make sure it's focused. So not on the edge, but flat so that it's open. And I don't want to get so close that it's going to get, so see how you can actually see the loop, Jean? And you want to pull back on that. Okay, not on the edge, not on the side. So you wouldn't want to, if this had a chisel, you wouldn't want to be on the chisel. you want to be able to see the little U part of that tool so that you can pull back, and what it does is create the line and it wipes away in like a little bit of a channel. Hopefully that shows you. Does that make sense, Jean? I hope. Okay. Well, we'll just have to. Okay, so this is set on here for a minute. So then you can take your sponge and you can wipe back the excess. I also recommend that you take a paper towel and just kind of blot, because your color will bead up on the wax. So you want to blot away anything that's there, because when the wax fires, it's going to burn off. If there's still color on there, it's going to shift or roll that color to somewhere else. Hopefully that makes sense. So these are the same colors that I used on this. That's just how much they change in the firing. Does that make sense? Okay, she says thanks, so I think she understood. Okay, let me put this one back down because I told you I was going to show you how to do shading. And rinse that brush. And so with a large square shader, whether it's the, you can use the number 10 Kolinsky that we have, or you can use one of these synthetic washes. I'm going to go down to the 1/2 inch now. So I'm going to water load my brush, drag off the edge of my water bucket, and I'm going to corner load so that I have like 1/3 of that brush full of color. And then I'm going to go to the center here and I'm going to blend quickly, flip it over, color next to color, and blend again. A lot of times I will load twice and do that when I first start. And then you can come along and keep your color to the outside edge and float the color along the edge. I'm going to go back and just pick up what I've got there and go back the other direction. And that's how I made the edges a little bit darker on this piece all the way around. So you're floating the color. So water load, drag off. I like to keep the writing of the brush towards me. Corner load, blend, flip it over and blend. Turn your piece as you're working to make it comfortable and pull that. And the larger the brush you use, you're going to be able to go the full length of a larger tile. If it's smaller, you don't need that big a brush. Just try to use the largest brush possible in the area. Will achieve a soft look. Okay, so water's on the other side. Water is your friend. Okay, so any questions about the carving? Why, you know, you don't have to. You could, you don't have to wax. You could just put your watercolor background, carve through, or you could just come in and use a liner brush. You could transfer your pattern, do a liner brush, and do all brush work. This is just another way of doing it for a different look. And so some people may not be as steady, you know, with the liner brush. So this may be a way for them to get a nice, consistent line versus a liner brush. Hopefully that makes sense. There's always more than one way to do something, and you just got to find which way is better for you to achieve the desired look that you're wanting to get. See how I just go back and forth? Grab a little bit more of that. Okay. All right. Any other questions, Jenny? I don't see any. Okay. So if I didn't want to put the wax on there, let's move this out of the way again. I do not sell the diamond tool. I'll put that back up in the link. There's different sizes. This is the L3. Okay, they're pricey, $48. $48. You might see if you can find a coupon anywhere. If you join, I believe, if you join the membership program on ClayShare, that you get a discount at Diamond Core Tools. Okay. All right. And then as far as the brush, the mongoose hair brush for Zim, he is offering free shipping right now for that. That's that brush that I'm using. It comes in 3 different sizes. He's got free shipping, and that is a discounted price. You got to remember, natural hair brushes tend to be more expensive. Okay. All right, so see the difference? You've got a nice line. You got to make sure it gets in. I see a little bit of a white space, so you can go back and you can add more into an area, and then you can wipe it back. Okay, and blot, because you don't want any excess color on there to bead up when you fire it. Okay, if you didn't want to do the wax, you could sit and you could put your pattern on, whatever your pattern might be. You could trace it on there using the Sharpie. Because you're on Greenware, guys, remember when we're working on the bisque, let me grab that other marker. I recommend that you're using that Statler Triplus Fine Liner. Okay, you can use that if you want to just transfer directly, no wax at all. Okay, so you can put this on, go over the pattern. Are we clear, Jenny, or is it? Okay, yeah. So Brenda, that is the wax on. It's Mr. Marks, and it's by the Ceramic Shop. And the links are there for you. So you could transfer with the watercolor. You can transfer with the Sharpie on Greenware. But remember, if you're on bisque, I do not use the Sharpie. It has too much wax in it. And because you're going to, 9 times out of 10, glaze over the top of it, it'll trap it and it'll burn off, but it also repels your color. Okay, so only on Greenware or on top of a matte glaze do I recommend the Sharpie, because you're not trapping it between the wear and the top coat of glaze. Okay, so if you did not want to do the wax, don't have to. Let's do the wire tool on here, and you could just start carving right through. Now the difference is this is going to be white if you carve it, or let's say you want to use the liner brush. Now that I carved that, and I'm going to go to the 3600 number 2 liner that I always use. I'm just going to grab some of that blue. I'm going to turn this. Get that on there. And because then I can do like thick and thin lines. And maybe you just want to do an outline. And this is a little turn back. And then you can have your fine lines. Okay, so that's just another way of doing it. So you can use that pattern however you want. And maybe do the same thing different ways. See what you like. Do a test. You know, you can test it all on one tile and just kind of see what you want to accomplish. Thick and thin. Okay. So just remember, if you're doing brushwork, a brush stroke is color, pressure, and motion. So if you've got one color on there, the amount of pressure, you have thick lines, thin lines, and it's just the amount of pressure that you're putting down. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep this one short tonight, guys. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And then I'm going to have Jenny pick a winner. And see, you can come in and add little dots at the ends of those stamens. And you've got a nice flower. Okay, any last questions anywhere, Jenny? She's checking. Okay, so she doesn't see any questions. So we're going to draw. So tonight we're going to do downloadable pattern pack, your choice, 14.95 and below. All right, and she'll draw one name from YouTube and one name from Facebook while I'm continuing to paint. You get to pick that what it is, and then if you want the downloadable version, I will send that to you. And if for some reason you don't and you want a printed copy, then we'll make that happen also. Okay, Jenny. The first winner is Carol Muncie. Is that M-U? Spell it for me. M-U-N-S-I-E. So Carol, you are new to me, so please message me on Facebook with your email and what you'd like. And what you'll do is go out to my website, colorsforearth.com, go to the education tab at the top, and then there are tutorials, or learn here, I think is where it's at. And you can pick either, even if it's not a downloadable on the website, I can still send you the PDF. Okay. All right. Hey, Pam. The YouTube winner is Bobby Hughes. So, Bobby, be sure and go to Messenger on Facebook, or you can email me at info@colorsforearth.com and send me an email. So, go out there and look. If you're having trouble finding um, the information, let me know. So, here is the website and the email. If you have any questions, you can call me, but you can also email me. All right, so you can see you can do it either way, guys. I just wanted to show you something new with the wax. Let me grab that one that we waxed a little bit ago, and you can see that it's almost dry. There's a little bit of an area that's still damp. The other one I can tell you, when I did both my vase and my tile, I had that before I left on my trip. So it sat here for a good 7, 8 days, and I still carved through it when I got back. And that's on 0406 wear, because I know some of you are high fire. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch to the camera, and I'm going to hide this one. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. And then if you won tonight, make sure that you reach out and let me know which one, what technique you want, and I'll get that emailed over to you or mailed out. Okay. Thank you, Brenda. Hopefully it gives you something to think about, gives you a new, I wanted you to know, I was excited to find, the wax. That was something I hadn't had in a while. Thank you, Don and Deb. Okay, guys. Oh, so yes, so Jean's asking, these are fire to 04, and then you can apply a clear glaze or a transparent glaze of your choice. You could also do a matte. So I will put glaze on these, and I've got some other pieces that I did on demos before, and now I'll have kind of a kiln mode, and I'll get everything fired together. Okay. Hey, Ginger. Yeah, come back and watch it. All right, John. John, maybe I'll see you in at the South Carolina show in September. So check the website. There is a calendar at the very bottom of the site that tells you if I'm out anywhere teaching or at a show. That is all listed by month, and you can find all that information. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm going to sign off. I wanted to try to keep these shorter and not get so long. Um, Jenny's appreciative that she worked all day. Of course, it is what it is. So I can get long-winded. So I'm going to sign off. Happy painting, and I'll see you next week. We'll be doing glass. Okay.